All right, we are here on Red Belt Podcast 24 with Master Farshad. Is that how we pronounce your name, sir?
Farshad Azad, yeah.
All right. So, could you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a martial arts school owner. I own multiple businesses. One of them happens to be a martial arts school. I've been involved in martial arts since 1973, and my martial arts school has been around since 1985. Um, we are hinged very much in doing the business the right way. We had it we have tried it in the old school way and the new school way. The new school way works so much easier, so much better with such great systems and everything else. I'm a 10th degree black belt in Shimo Hapkido and in Tai Chi. I've been training in Tai Chi and Asian martial arts, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Southeast Asian martial arts for a very long time, well, since 1973 in different ones. And I love martial arts, regardless of what system of martial arts. I love all of them.
Awesome. So, I'm going to make a request I haven't made for another podcast guest. Could you turn your video off for just a second so YouTube could see your thumbnail that I saw before you were getting on? It's a tiger. A tiger with a stuffed lion, I guess. You can turn your
That's
video off.
exactly right. So, one of the things that I absolutely love to do, and I inspire my students to do and help them to do it, is community service. And in that spirit, I volunteered at a wildlife refuge for animals, wild cats, and large animals. And that cat happened to be a baby tiger that I had the privilege of working with. And that baby tiger grew up to be 800 pounds, Bengal tiger. He was friendly, but not, and trained, but not tamed ever.
Awesome. And you worked with a whole bunch of wild animals like bears and stuff like that.
I did. We worked with tigers and lions and cougars and ligers and you name it, and bears and grizzly bears and you name it. We had all kinds of animals on this in this foundation. It was just really wonderful.
Do you need like a background to do that?
No, you just need a good desire to learn and not be afraid of getting hurt and be open-minded and be very careful. So anybody could really get in there and do it. I didn't have any background in that industry. I approached the board of directors of that particular foundation, and I told them that I would volunteer for them in any capacity they wanted to. And I did. I volunteered as a ground guy to being in the cage with some of the animals, to being their spokesperson, to fundraise for them, to be a liaison between them and other type of rescue organizations, such as even Red Cross, urgent, disaster organizations, and it's been amazing. It was amazing. The training was incredible, and I would highly recommend it to people that love animals, and I absolutely love animals.
Awesome. So that's such a fun fact. When I saw that on there, I was like, hey, this isn't super martial arts relevant, but it is, right? Because the spirit of giving back to the community and things like that is relevant. So, and
It's so important, Brian. I think it is the cornerstone of martial arts. When you think about it, martial arts was never based on pay something and go learn something. When we look at the origination of martial arts, was all created on the basis of what nature has to offer, and on the basis of observation of nature, and then how you go around to help the world be in a better place, including your own world, right? And as a matter of fact, the word samurai means the one who serves or to serve. So samurais, even in their philosophy, they were in service of, they weren't just a local killer. They were in local service, in service of the country, in service of their village, in service of their region. Of course, we had different types of samurais, but in essence, martial arts was created for betterment of human being all the way around. And if I can make myself better, I can make the world around me better in any possible way. And if we could do that, we will be all warriors of change and warriors of making the world a better place.
Yeah, awesome. And I will say that um, anything that you want to see in students, just like a parent with their child, if you walk the walk, so if you want to see your students volunteering and giving back, if they see you do it, it's going to be way easier than like, hey, it would be cool if you gave back, but they don't see you do it. It must not be that important. Grandmaster never does it.
You
My
you
teacher
you
never
couldn't
does
say it even better. That's so right on. That's so correct. Leading by example, right? It's a cliche, but it's true. It's leading by example speaks so well and so powerfully all the way around. Whereas, we see it all day when a parent brings a kid and for the kid to exercise. Meanwhile, the parent is out of shape,
it.
right?
Right.
So it's double messaging. So we always try to help parents to also follow the same thought and same energy of getting fit, getting in shape, protecting themselves, being more aware, being healthier mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the way around. So we try to do that actively in my martial arts school, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners do that too. But again, it's in the same spirit. And as instructors, if we are not in good shape, if we don't keep ourselves in the same spirit, then we are double talking in that area too. We need to keep ourselves in good shape and move around. Of course, with age, different capabilities come in, different capabilities go away. But as much as possible to really walk that talk all the way forward.
Yeah, and so one thing, part of the vision of the podcast is you're exactly right. I think the vast majority of instructors, when they see the parents, they're like, "Hey, I'd love to get them involved." Just like for me and most of the martial arts school owners I know, everybody I see, I have to like to not be a drag at parties, check myself, and not try to spend every time trying to get because I feel like everybody should be in martial arts, right? And I would love them to train with me because I believe in what we do. However, it's more about how. So if you're successful, that's why I try to bring on people that are successful. So I think many people try to do it, but I think there's obviously more than one way, but some ways may be proven more effective than others. And I can think of some ways that are not effective for sure. Um, Obviously, anything negative isn't going to be effective.
It's very
Um,
true.
but what are some examples? How would you go about that? So if you see maybe that parent that isn't walking the walk, like, hey, that they could benefit from doing something physical and probably benefit from a program at your school. How do you address that?
It starts with ourselves. Um, Philosophically, just speaking philosophically, if I keep myself in a good mental state at all times, good mental and emotional state at all times, especially when I need to be on, right? By just by nature of things, I'm exuding that energy. I'm showing and I'm bringing that energy to the game. So when I'm talking to a parent, I'm going to be authentic. And by the way, nothing sells more than authenticity. Nothing. We could talk about this and that all day. We could talk about different strategies, different techniques, different implementation type of systems. We could talk about a lot of stuff. But if we are not authentic in our communication, if we are not authentic about our purpose, then that sales is going to look kind of clunky and it's going to be a rough road for us as martial arts school owners or as business owners or as entrepreneurs. It's going to be a tough gig. So first, we got to start up with ourselves. We got to make sure our own home is clean. We got to make sure we keep ourselves to a higher standard ourselves, right? I can't be going in front of a parent and say, get in shape while everything in my body and in my mind and in my emotion and my mannerism shows that parent that I'm not in that shape myself, right? That becomes a fake game. That becomes sales, frankly, at that point, right? It's like a person that is driving a Toyota but is selling a different types of car, right? So why is that important is, and again, to your point, martial artists, especially in my view, real martial artists, they are very passionate. They're very, very passionate people. So for them talking about their martial arts or the world of martial arts or getting involved in martial arts, regardless of the system, by the way, is natural. Is the passion, it just comes out, just oozes out of our ears because we love it. We live it. We are doing it every day, right? We are buyers in the world of martial arts ourselves. We're not just in the entrepreneurial business of martial arts, we are martial artists. We are actually doing things. So we feel that way. So leading by example requires us to first be authentic and be clear with ourselves, knowing who we are, knowing what we are, and also holding ourselves to this standard of, am I right now in the tip top shape of my life in this age group, in this form that I'm in right now? Can I be better? And then if I am, then I'm going to get on it. And then as a result, it would be much easier to talk to that particular parent or anybody else, right? So that's number one. Number two, I think it is that idea of open door. In other words, being approachable, being someone that can talk to people regardless of your years of experience of martial arts. I've been in martial arts again since 1973, over 50 something years. And regardless of the rank and all that, we've got to bring all of that stuff, regardless of achievements, we've got to bring everything down to the point of approachability. Are you approachable, or are you looking like a tough guy? Are you approachable, or are you looking like somebody who's untouchable? Are you approachable, or are you looking someone that has got an ego that is bigger than the universe? So when we are approachable, other people can see the best in us, and they can easily um, have a conversation with us. And that's the time to respond to their questions and concerns and pain points, and finding out what are the things that are keeping them away from getting maybe in better shape, or perhaps reducing their stress, or perhaps increasing their emotional fitness, right? So the way I approach it is, first, I keep me in check before I talk to anybody else. Second thing, when I talk to the person, I talk to them as if we've been friends forever. And then that allows us to really build a nice rapport so that we could talk about what is it that is bothering them, or what is it that is holding them back, or what is it that they could do to become better in their life. Some of our parents that come in our school, they're actually in good shape. Some of them are athletes. Some of them are in the gym daily, right? So we want to make sure that we are not just talking about people that are out of shape, but we're talking about anybody that needs a little bit of enhancement mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the way around.
Right. And I feel like you said, many martial arts instructors do have the passion. So, and that's very important. You need the passion. But I do think that there is a booby trap there with that passion, where you have the tendency to, instead of making it about them, and like you were saying, hey, how can you help them? And like instead fall into the trap of talking about their style. Hey, I've produced this champion. Hey, I've done this. I trained with Grandmaster so and so. I did this. I did that. They don't care. Like, so
That's
because
right.
none of that is how you can serve them. Right. So that is not the serving attitude. And we're passionate about it and we care about those things. So it's like it's easy to accidentally be passionate, but like I've heard it called getting into the weeds. So you're over there in the rather than on the path to help and serve this person, you're over there doing something over there. And it may not be negative because your passion is whatever, but it's like that's not the path. You're over there into the weeds.
Very true. Very true. What makes us excited about martial arts and about our life does not necessarily excite another person. And they can care less about what we know and what rank we got and how many title belts we got and how many trophies we won, or how many masters and grandmasters of top rank legendary level we have trained with, until they know how much we care.
Mhm.
Nobody cares about any of this stuff until they know how much we care. And when they know that we care, then they become inquisitive about, hey, by the way, who did you train with? And by the way, what was your obstacle in life? Or by the way, what styles do you like? Or what do you think? Right? So that conversation evolves from, again, back to that authenticity, right? It comes back to that authenticity and approachability. So once we're approachable, we build that rapport with that student or with that prospect or with that lead, and then business happens by itself, right? And that's the beauty of our work. We are so privileged to be in the type of work that we are in, because it's healthy lifestyle from every direction. It's got thousands of years of background and proof So we don't have to come in and prove that it's a new thing. It's not new. By the way, just like Bruce Lee said so well, and he learned it from his instructors, of course, that martial arts are all parts of the same tree. You don't look at one martial arts, you don't look at one part of a tree, one leaf versus the other one, and say this is an ugly leaf and this is a beautiful leaf. You look at it and you address all of it together. And if the tree is healthy, all the leaves are healthy. If there are unhealthy leaves, that's because the tree is not healthy. So if our martial arts industry is healthy, then all styles look beautiful. We don't have to go around bash each other's styles and bash each other's instructors and bash each other's methods. What we could say is that this method works better for me. What what we could say is that this method, frankly, works better for you, right? That kind of a thing, right? So, and as many of us have in our martial arts school, we may have different styles that we teach. One style may work for one particular demographic better, or one person better than another style, right? But the rest of it is we are all brothers and sisters, and we are all leaves of the same exact tree. And the tree is make a better human being through combatives.
For sure. I 100% agree. And I had an epiphany a few years ago. I've been a martial arts school owner for 12 years. And the kind of the epiphany was that yeah, some people do seek a style because maybe they watched something or what they heard about something. But a lot of people come in and they literally don't even know what they want to do. They know they have problems and they believe that maybe you have a solution. And so I tried, especially starting after COVID, and then we've still had this a little bit. We still put people in class, but we'll also do a consult depending on the person. And it's possible to sign someone up for like a challenge or a thing and set them an orientation and later decide what martial art you're putting them in. Like we have Muay Thai, kickboxing, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu all for adults in the same facility. And it's
Right.
possible to sign someone up and never even talk about the style. And we'll talk about it if it drifts that way for the customer. But the thing is like my epiphany was they don't care about anything. We're all style versus style and this, and we got to persuade them that like they don't even care about any of it at all. They don't even need to hear that information before they sign up. Why they're signing up is because what did we talk about? Hey, what are your goals? Okay, you want to lose this weight. Hey, I can help you with that. What are your other, like, they care about the solution to the problem, not necessarily caring about the weeds. All that stuff that we thought that we fight amongst each other about. It's like it's not even important, really. Not on the front end. I don't want to say it's important because it's important to me. It's probably important to you and your structure. But like, it's what's most important is serving the customer, and it's not important right now. That's talking about it is not how we serve the customer. And so
Yeah.
I want to know how we can best talk to and serve these customers. And the subject of enrolling these parents intrigues me because I would love to do it a higher percentage. I just enrolled one this week. I want to enroll 10,
Yes.
right? And most of my parents currently, some school owners have told me different that they're doing a better job. Most of my parents are not training. And so I
Right.
would love to, what percentage would you say are training themselves at your school?
Wait, I'm sorry. The question again, one more time. What percentage are doing what?
What percentage of your parents of childs are training themselves?
Oh, I see. From the children program that we have, what percentage of their parents are actually training in our school? I say 25%, maybe 35% tops. So we could do much better job in that area, right? And I think a lot of times when I talk to school owners or I coach different people that need my help, um, I have to remind them that we are all in trenches together. We may be in different layers, in different levels, but we're all working all the time on the same topic, on the same subject. I'd say right now we have maybe 25% of our students' grandparents enrolled in one program. And then I have maybe another 25% enrolled in our regular martial arts program. We still have a long way to go to make this craft even better, right? So it comes right down to communication. It comes right down to the ability to connect with that particular parent and showing them that, number one, we have something to offer to them. Number two, that they are welcome and they would not be feeling humiliated or ridiculed or pushed around or hurt, right? Um, and putting their mind into a place where they would feel comfortable with the exercise just as much as they feel comfortable going to a gym, right? So if a parent is going to a gym, we make it our point number one to get that parent in our school. If a parent doesn't go into a gym or they don't have a very active lifestyle, that's when we try to connect with them and bring them into maybe a variety of different lead programs, lead generating programs, such as self-defense program, or maybe a talk that we have at the martial arts school, whether by Grandmaster or by one of my instructors. Doesn't make any difference. Just something for them to come in and meet us, because when they get to like you, that's when they will probably look at your martial arts school in a different way. And I'm talking about myself too, right? I'm not on some pedestal or anything like that. We work on that craft of making our communication better and better and better with those parents all the way through, and grandparents.
Right. So I love in the martial arts spirit your humility, but I will go ahead and say yes, there's absolutely room for improvement there. But those are better numbers than average, I would say. If you have like 25 to 35% of your parents training, I think you are outperforming many schools. You're outperforming my school. That's for sure. In that way, you are for sure. And I think you touched on an idea right there. Having a less committal and scary offer. So you're talking about by a talk, like rather than, hey, try our program, it's like, hey, by the way, we have this coming up for parents. Is that what you're talking about? We have this coming up for parents. It's Saturday, it's free, and it's a 1 day event where we talk about blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. So there are multiple approaches that we take toward this. Number one, it starts with the first phone call. When they're calling us or when they are inquiring about the program, and they're inquiring about a children program or something. Once we find out, excuse me, once we find out how we can help them help their children, then we ask them, what are you doing for exercise? What are you doing to keep yourself in a good shape, right? So we start the conversation kind of early on in that area. Then from that point on, the child will go through the program or enrolls in the program. And then at that point, we also invite the parent to come in and join us for a short period of time and actually train with us, free of charge, totally free of charge.
So short period of time is that, hey, try a free week. Hi, try 2 free weeks. Like, what is the offer? Does it change or?
Gotcha. So the offer that currently we are working on that we offer to the parent is 3 months free.
Ooh.
Yeah, we give them 3 months of free lessons. So in that 3 months of free lessons at twice a week kind of a thing, right? We're looking at 12 weeks essentially, right? So 12 weeks, we have about 24 classes for this parent to really sink their teeth into the program and really for us to serve them in such a way that we can actually get them right interested into a higher level, right? So then in that 3 months, by the way, I'm not saying that's the best way to do it. That's the way we are doing it. I'm sure there are other people that are doing different systems and probably works for them. But in that 3 months, we don't wait until the last day of the 3 months to convert them to a regular program. We have different stop points in the middle of that to make sure that we touch base with this particular parent, with this particular lead, to make sure that they are interested in our program. Are we doing something right? Are we doing something wrong? Is something bothering them? Is something exciting them? What are the things that are exciting them? What are the benefits that they're getting out of the program? What are the values that they are seeing? What are the long-term values? Can they see themselves doing this thing in the long term? And then at any given point where we get that green light, we actually convert them into the regular program. We technically, this is just on the technical format of it, we will credit whatever is left of those 3 months into their program. We lower their tuition based on that for the next year, and we enroll them on a 1-year program.
And so the normal program would have more classes available, different type of classes.
They could come to all the classes that they want to.
Okay, so where they were on a restricted program 2 days a week before, basically.
We would, yeah, exactly. We'll put them on 2 days a week because we don't want them to get bored. We don't want them to get injured. We don't want them to get into a place where they feel like oversaturated, right? Because people at the beginning, just like people going into the gym in January, right? By February 15th, there's nobody in the gym anymore. Everybody's already done because they are hurting, they're sore, or they're not getting results. So we want to calibrate that. We want to set them up for success, just like we do it for our own students. But we want to set them up in such a way that they could succeed in the program. And once they succeed in the program, it's a conversion mode right there and then. As a matter of fact, a lot of times they come to us.
Sure.
Yeah, hey, I'm getting so much out of the program. I'm thinking about a long term. Can we talk about this thing a little bit more? And we make it a very, very easy transition for them.
Do you have numbers on the percentage of people that you put in this 3 month free that become a member? Do you have?
Every single student, every single child that is enrolled in our program, this offer is given to their parents.
Okay.
Now, how many are actually taking that offer? I don't have an exact number for that one right now, but I could tell you we had about another 30 to 35% of the parents instantly taken on that. And
Okay.
sometimes both mom and dad coming in, so it becomes a super deal that way. So mom and dad come in, they take the 3 months right away, and we start them up with their child.
So what the number I was most interested in is they take it. If they say yes on that, so now they're in this funnel that's 3 months long. And my concern was like, this is a long funnel where you might could lose track of people, whatever. Is it converting? What percentage of those?
Oh, I see.
What percentage of those people do we convert? Do you
I'd say
know?
over 80%. Over
Oh,
80% of those people actually translate into the program. Yeah, absolutely. We haven't the time. So the 20% that is missing in the game. So I'd say between 80 to 90% actually enroll in our program. But to go on a conservative side of the stats, I'd stay at the 80% conversion rate from 3 month program to a regular program of their choice, whatever they want to do. Um, uh, so the thing that we see in that area is two things. One is how you're treating them during those 3 months. And then again, if it's getting to the last day of the 3 months and now you're coming to a conversation about that, is too late. And we have fallen to that mistake too. We're not exactly the last day, but the last month. So we have created a system where the conversation keeps on going on every other week with this parent in some form or another. And our goal would be to kind of get them into an enrollment process, into a regular program in 60 days, not in 90 days. Right? So within
the
2 months,
talk is every other week. And
every
so
other
the
week.
goal is 60 days. So in other words, the talks every other week, the first ones, do they even have an offer? Like they're
No,
just check in. So you
no.
don't really produce an offer until around 60 days, you're saying? When it starts like, hey, by the way, I can credit this time. Here's an offer to start joining. You wait 2 months before that?
Yeah, technically what we do is that we have that every other week conversation. Of course, you always have, tiny little micro conversations during every class, right? But the kind of a call at home or talk before the class, kind of a little bit more calculated conversation points, they're happening every other week. And we do not put any offer in there at all in the first month. We just don't. We look for this though. If this particular parent has become a raving fan within 3 weeks, we will make that offer at the third week. 2 weeks, we'll make that offer at the 2 weeks. But our general conversion system, we do not talk about money at all or any kind of a conversion for the first month. In the first month, we just want to show the parent that we are interested. What are they getting out of the program? What are they not getting out of the program? What are they hoping to get out of the program that hasn't been delivered yet or hasn't formed yet? Because we still are in the mode of serving them, serving them, serving them. Not that we don't serve them after enrollment, we do even higher. But at this point, we want to make sure that our touch points are really giving us the energy that we need for this person to become a raving fan. We call them the A rates, right? ABC. We call them the A students. At that point, once they are within that area where they are like really antsy about it, like they really want to know what to do next. Once we create that interest, that spark, we're talking to them about, well, what do you think about a training in a regular program? What do you think about investing in your future and just kind of moving this forward? Imagine what you got in 1 month, what you're going to get in 12 months, kind of a thing, right?
So, what are your prices that you're looking to pitch them into, and how do those compare to the kids' program prices? Are they the same?
They're the same. Our program is right now $189 a month. We are in our town, we have the highest point of tuition in our area. Everybody else is below us. And we have the busiest school. We have the highest number of students in town uh, in our um, uh, in our martial arts school. Um, so we are at $189, and for as many classes as they want to come and take in the program. And we are seeing that it ends up being 2 to 3 times. At the beginning, and maybe the first month, maybe like 5, 6 times. And then we'll see that it goes straight to 2 to 3 months within 2 months. So that allows us to manage our classroom size. That allows us to manage our classroom systems all the way around.
So you were saying that, like, hey, you saw this progress. So in these twice a week talks, is there exact notes or questions you're asking to try to like measure progress, measure feedback, measure things like that to be like to be able to say, hey, you've seen this or you've done this?
Yeah, so our we don't so in our staff training, our most important interest in the student is in their interested areas. So if you come in and you fill out a new student sheet application form for us, and you say you want to have more inner peace, right, through martial arts, we make sure that that is one of the subjects that we are talking about, maybe not in the same exact vocabulary cliche of inner peace, but in different ways of stress management, lowering stress, in the different ways of you feeling more comfortable being in the martial arts school. Are you getting enough tools to serve that particular thing that you came in for? Our conversation with our students is to see if you are serving them in the best possible way, in the way they would see it. What is their perception, not our perception, right? So for us, it may be that, well, is a student learning their kicks and their throw and their fall and their lock and all that stuff? That might be the interest technically, right? But that's not what we talk about. We do talk about, first of all, is the exercise working for them? Is it too much or too little? We want to know that, because if you're pushing this particular person, this, let's say this dad, right? Since it's a Father's Month, it's a good one to talk about. Are we pushing this person to a point where they are feeling sore and in pain all the time? Are they feeling a little bit afraid because in class the movements are a little bit too rough? Or are they feeling bored because they're not being challenged? We want to make sure these areas are really addressed all the way around. So our talk in the first couple of weeks is along these lines. Once we get past the point of, yeah, no, this is working out for me. Like I give you an example of one of my Tai Chi students the other day. We knew that she wants stress relief. She's in her late 50s. And we knew that this is what she wanted in the Tai Chi program. So she's been in the program for 3 weeks. So I was talking to her on sort of on the side of the classroom a little bit. How are you doing? You know, those micro conversations. This wasn't an official talk. This was a micro conversation after class. How are you doing? Everything working out for you? Are you enjoying the classes? She goes, this is the best thing I've ever done for myself in my life. I've never had a scenario where I have all the stress that I have in my life and I felt so comfortable and so calm. She said, this is amazing. This is the best thing I've done for myself. So I was like, well, is she enrolled in the program? I had to make sure she enrolled in the program. And I talked to my program director and all that. She was enrolled last week. She's been there only 2 weeks, right? So she did get she did get those 3 months, but the conversion happened sooner because we addressed those elements sooner. In the script of talk, the first month, we want to make sure, are we really serving this particular person? Are we really serving Brian's interest? If Brian wants to learn how to protect himself on the ground, are we really addressing this thing, or are we teaching you Tai Chi, for instance, right? What is working in there? So we want to make sure we are congruent with the pains and needs and wants of the student. That's number one. Then in the second week, we want to make sure the energy of the student is congruent with what they're learning. In other words, is your energy, are you excited or are you dragging when you come in? When you leave, are you dragging or are you excited? Are you engaged in talk with everybody? Are you smiling during classes? Are you there? Are you present? If you're present, then we know that we are probably on the right track. If you're not congruent with the energy of it, with the excitement of it, that's when our red flags come up, and that's when our conversation turns into finding out, diagnosing, if you will, what is wrong, what is happening, what is not happening. Oftentimes, it's what is not happening, right? So what is missing in the game? And that's how we kind of work the system, from making sure our lead understands that we are there for them for real, that we are there interested to see, are they getting less anxiety? Are they getting their anxiety under control? Are they getting their depression under control? Are they seeing a higher level of energy from the time that they came in, and not higher level of caffeine or sugar energy, but a higher level of energy, internal energy, right? Is their mindset better? So we want to make sure all of that is congruent, not just in the internal side, but also physical side. Are you getting a little bit more flexible? Do you see the muscles are hurting a little bit, like in a good way, right? Are your legs feeling the stretches a little bit? Oh, sir, yeah, I feel the stretch is really good. Why? And is that working for you? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love it because I know I've worked that hard. We are congruent in energy and in delivery of the system at that point.
Awesome. So this is really good stuff. Could you explain, like, so the lady that was enrolled in 2 weeks, could you explain the sort of offer that that would have been made to her to get her to basically give up 10 free weeks of training? What would it sound like? What does it look like financially? Like, of course she was happy, but like this, I assume there's got to be an offer still.
Oh yeah, 110%. So once we are at the point of doing the business side of the game, right, on the financial side of the game, it's very easy. We make it very, very painless, if you will, right? So, and the way we do it is this. Let's say Janet said she absolutely loves the program and she sees herself doing this thing in a for a long term, and that she's getting so much out of the program, and we have already okayed with her that she wants to continue. So, okay, it's really easy to do this thing. All we need to do is get you, and again, not in these words, right? Not in this presentation, but all we need to do when we're talking to her is to give her the feel that we are going to get whatever is left of her 3 months free offer. We will credit that to her tuition, and we will calculate that ahead of time. So let's say, for instance, today I found out Janet really wants to continue, right? I will tell my program director, Janet is excited. Let's calculate a method for her to go forward. So she will calculate, let's say, just for the ease of the game, let's say she's done 2 months and she's got 1 month left. That means $189 of credit left in that area. We get her total program for 12 months. We subtract $189 from it, we divide it by 12, and we start her tuition from this coming month. So from July 1st, her tuition starts up. and at the discounted rate. And then we will present that to them. And 99.99% of the time, they will enroll. Now, in the process that you were talking actually earlier, the first month we talk about service, but the second month we actually start dropping some numbers a little bit here and there. Oh, the program is this much. Instead of saying $189 a month, we may say the program is $4 a class or $10 a class, that kind of a thing. So we start kind of letting them know so that they could do their calculations in their head. And then once they say that they really like the program and how much does it cost and all that, then it's all transparent. It's all open, one rate, one game. And the only thing is that we give them discount, two levels. One is we give them a discount as a family member, and then the other one we give them a discount for that period of time that they got left in their 3 months of free. We want them to know that they're never going to be cheated by us. They're never going to be shortcut by us. We want them to see that everything that we are saying is congruent with what we are.
So, do you run into any issues at the end of the year if is their payment going to go up, right? So they got this credit towards this year. Next year, you're just going to keep that same amount, or is it going to go up to the
You're
189?
absolutely right. No, it will go up, and we will tell that to them right off the get-go. Look, this program is $189, right? But right now you're getting it for, let's say, $170. At the end of the year, just understand that for 1 year, you're going to get this thing at $170 a month. And from that point on, when you renew, it's going to go back to the tuition, whatever the tuition is. We're really upfront about it, right there and then. Because then when it comes to that point, we've already chatted about it. She already expects it in her mind. She's already decided that this is going to happen. And by the way, we never let a program run to the end and then renew a person. We renew a person right about a halfway point or 3/4 away maximum. So let's say you're on a 1 year program, 12-month program. We will renew you somewhere between 6 months to 9 months.
And
We
what is
don't get
that
onto them.
when it's a different rate? Am I still paying a lower rate for 6 more months, or I'm paying more? What's my
No, you're going to go to that regular tuition. So if you
okay?
were paying $170 a month because of the discount that you got, because of the credit that you had on that 3 months,
Hmm.
now the program, as we have told you in the first day when you're enrolled, is going to be at $189 a month.
So why would I agree to give up the discount for 6 more months and
No,
do
no,
it?
no, no. Oh, I got you. I got you. I got you. So no, you still continue, right? So you still have your 12 months at that rate.
Okay.
So we renew you for the end of the program.
We just got you agreeing to where we don't have to have a talk in 6 months.
That's
Whereas
right.
then we just signed the agreement, but we're actually not going up on payments right now.
No, exactly right. So you have a commitment for another 12 months at the end of your term that you have right now. Yeah, we do. Yeah, exactly. We're not going to up their game at all. So let's say this person's program is going to end, let's say September, right? We will have that discussion right now to make sure that she continues. Are you still enjoying the program? Great. Do you see yourself continuing, or is this enough? Right? And I tell you what, we don't just go into that. We have set up systems to make sure that this student is an absolute raving fan, right? So that they are really interested in the program for themselves, right? So at that point, then we enter the conversation. Once the conversation is done, the enrollment agreement is signed by the student to continue as of October 1st.
So what are those systems like? Is it mainly the talks that you're talking about? Are those setup systems?
Yeah, so essentially, we call it the Half Moon program. So essentially, what happens is we know that we're going to renew the student between 6 months, between a halfway point and 3/4 away, right? And so that's one of our systems. The other system is to make sure that that new term is starting for 12 months at the back end of this one, right? And then maintaining that constant handholding, that white glove treatment, that red carpet treatment, that blue ribbon service all the way around to make sure that there's absolutely no issue. There's very smooth transition from this term to the next student agreement all the way through.
So do you have it where if someone doesn't renew, so a lot of people have it like, hey, it renews automatically on a month-to-month basis or something like that. You don't do that. You have it
We
if
don't
you
do that. We
if, so
don't do that.
if you can't get them to agree, they just don't train anymore.
Yeah, we just don't do that, and there's a reason for that one in our experience. In our experience, is that that actually caused a little bit of hard feelings at times, because if somebody had their thoughts and minds, let's say, I don't want to train from July 1st, right? They've already calculated that into their budget, into their life, into their, I'm not going to be in the area for the next, 3 months and all that, and suddenly our billing program kicks in into July. We have seen that that actually sometimes creates a speed bump and a trust issue for us. Again, it may work really well for everybody else, and we've tried it both ways. And we had it like at a tiny little percentage of increase, right? When it would go to that format automatically. Instead of that, we just much rather have the discussion with the student well ahead of time to make sure what are the ways that we are failing to serve the student, because sooner or later, if they don't want to pay and they're going to go away, what are you going to do with them? You're going to take them to court? And that would be, and by the
But
way, there are some instructors that do that, right? We don't.
we don't.
We just don't do that kind of thing, especially living in a small town. We just don't do that kind of thing. We don't take people to court. So what happens is, so then we come to a point where we've worked so hard, we've marketed, Brian, for let's say 6 months on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and website and CRM and everything else, and all the crazy things that we do in the community, demonstrations and programs and all that stuff. We gave them a great offer. They came in, they liked the program, and now we have created a major barrier in there where we're going to destroy that trust and that feeling of friendship with one bump like this where they feel jaded, because it's like, why did you charge me? We either have to refund them. I'm sorry, we made a mistake. That was our bad. Or no, you signed on this. This contract says it's going to go into month to month. So now
If you
you are
don't cancel,
responsible
right?
for it, right? And now the student becomes a negative review on Google. Now this person becomes a negative, even if they have so much respect that they don't go to Google, they're going to tell about 100 people that, man, everything was great, but I don't know how these guys do business. We don't want, don't go there. Or if you go there, just understand that at the end of
You
what you
think they
do,
even know when they're so at my gym? I'm kind of the opinion that so we don't do much of this remote, and maybe we need to start of this remote, whatever. We basically only enroll you once ever. So there is no check-in at the end of the year. And to be perfectly honest, the contract's fake anyway, because like you said, I'm not going to take you to court. So if you want out, I just cancel. So basically the whole thing is, that's not how it's presented. It's presented as a year, but it's basically, hey, you sign up and you train until you don't want to train anymore. And if you let us know, I cancel you. And I don't feel like anyone even knows when their year is up. Right. So it's like you're saying, oh no, they taught, I didn't plan on like, I don't see that. I don't understand that from my point of view. Because if I go walk around, it's like, hey, when's your year? I don't think anyone would know. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Right. I love this conversation. So yeah, exactly. So there's two um, um, system approaches to these type of things in health industry and martial arts industry. One is the month-to-month program that we do, and the other one is, commitment. Now, commitment essentially is a psychological thing where we tell the student, hey, your commitment is for 1 year. Now, I got to tell you, in my martial arts program, in our contract system, we even have a cancellation clause that if they want to cancel, they just pay a little cancellation fee and they could cancel it at any given point. And
what is that? Is it big? Is it small? Is it?
it's $250 for cancellation. So, and they could cancel at any given point. And by the way, in California, consumer protection gives them 3 business days to cancel anyway. So if there is any kind of let's say you enroll today and by Monday or Tuesday you hate it, we can't hold you to any contract. It's illegal to hold anybody to contract. So I agree with your philosophy on that one. That yes, we don't hold people to that level. So my philosophy is, if I don't hold people to that level, why would I want to create speed bumps in there, right? I want to make sure the access is very easy for them and they feel comfortable and they don't feel hurt in any way. And our communication is in such a way that if somebody says, well, I need to cancel my program, we send them a copy of their student agreement and say, this is your cancellation fee. Are you sure you want to do this thing? Of course, we go through our processes to make sure that we save that student outside of student agreement. But sometimes, I mean, people do cancel, and if they do cancel, in our experience, they've had no problem with paying cancellation fee, none whatsoever. It's because, again, we have created a solid rapport and solid relationship between us and a student, as opposed to just a business transaction. If it becomes a business transaction alone, it's no good. So in our case, we just kind of keep that going forward, and it has worked well for us. The month to month, and by the way, we charge a month to month, right? Some people could pay a year in advance and get a little bit of percentage off. They get 5% off or whatever. But I mean, those are just modes of operation in terms of tuition. But month to month or 1 year program or 3 year program or whatever, to me, it's all good anyhow, right? It's all good as long as we establish that pattern that we need to have a system for both. If we don't have a system for a month to month, we still lose a student next month. If you don't have a system for a student agreement, we still lose a student at some point anyway, whether through cancellation or through non-renewal, right? So my philosophy is that treat the students in the best possible way. And if they have to go, make it in such a way that they come back. And many of our students come back.
Yeah. So there's so much here that like we could almost do another one of these, but because there was a couple more things that I had wanted to ask you, and we are running a little short in time. But do you have time to briefly touch on like so the ABC system for like either whether that's more about student attendance or student engagement? Definitely other people use that. You brought it up to the staff with the staff. You being aware of that like quality of student and also staff being aware like in class of the students goals, right? So there's like you have like a communication system from the front end with your staff about that. So could you talk a little bit about like the ABC attendance system and also the goals and like how your coach is supposed to work with and treat people accordingly?
100%. Great question. So we ABC our students every week. The ABC system is an old system that we've had in our martial arts school since 1990s, early 1990s. And what we do is that, as you said, we ABC our students based on their attendance and engagement and interest, right? So if the student's showing up with good energy, great. A, it's outstanding energy, A. Good energy, B. C is not so good energy, right? Attendance, the same thing. If you're showing up to minimum number of classes, at least twice a week, you're in good shape. But if you're not, then not so good. So that would be a B, and then the other one would be a C. And if you're showing up to a lot of different events and all that, that would be an A. So we ABC our students all the time for their engagement, spirit, and energy. And the reason being is because we want involved students. We want people that hopefully would want to become black belts someday. Hopefully they want to become instructors someday. Hopefully they want to become school owners someday, right? And in order for that to happen, we need to inspire that energy from what we talked about from the beginning of this program all the way to now. That if the student feels that excitement, then they are in good place. Now, ABC is very important to us because if a student is a C and you're going to go in for a renewal, or you're going to go in for an enrollment, or you're going to go in for any kind of an ask, chances are that is not going to work really well. So they are cold in their feeling towards your program, towards your school. But if they are hot, they're energetic, they're excited. We call them hot charcoals at that point. They are really excited about your program and they are in the A zone. that's when you approach them, and that's when things can happen in different ways. You could invite them to leadership programs, you could invite them to demo programs, you could invite them to all kinds of different types of things that serves them best and enhances your school. Did that help out?
Yes, that's awesome. And we could do a whole podcast over this question, but very early on in this, at the beginning, you said, "Hey, you used to do an old school martial arts approach, and you do a new school." Could you say what that means? Because we didn't dive into it when you said that.
Right. The old school martial arts essentially was running on the basis of feeling, not on the basis of science of business, not on the science of understanding human psychology, not understanding. When I say human psychology, I don't mean to become a psychologist. I mean just being mindful of the student. The old school was geared toward, was centered around the instructor, was centered around what the instructor wanted to do, essentially, and very little care toward the student. The student had to I mean, student was there just simply because of instructor. So the view was, I'm so good and you're so privileged to be here, right? So the whole idea of old school was not built on student center. It wasn't built on a systematic way of doing business and systematic way of treating our students in the best possible way, which is the right way for them to be treated. Every person needs to be treated with the utmost respect and utmost care, regardless of where they're coming from and their background or anything like that. And as old school instructors, we were hardcore. You would either spar hard, or you would either groundwork hard, or you were out of there, right? They would laugh you out of the school. Everything was based on that outcome, which was at the end a sort of an imagination in the mind of each instructor what that was. And people would take pride by saying, "Hey, I got only one black belt, in my school," as opposed to I have a black belt class in my school. So people would take pride in things that would not necessarily enhance their program or enhance the teaching of martial arts, whether in physical term or in philosophical term. So in order to be a new school martial artist, you have to be a mindful person. You have to think about what is it that we are doing. I have to think about what is it that I'm doing? How am I enhancing my students' life outside of fist and, kicks and throws and locks and chokes and arm bars and stuff, right? I have to think in a different way, because how often do we go out there and we have to use this stuff? In terms of hopefully not enough, right? Hopefully not every day, right? That would be a bad situation. I would say move if you're in that scenario, right? So our mindset from old school to new school has evolved and has changed, and that's why there are hundreds and hundreds of people, if not thousands, coming to schools, martial arts schools, all the time.
Awesome. So would you say this ABC system is a big part of that change? And is it the way that you do that? Are you saying, like, is coach responsible for that himself? Like, hey, he looks at a role and he's of his students, and each week he changes the letter and it's one letter? Or is it
absolutely right? Every single one of our instructors and coaches and assistant coaches and head instructors and chief instructors and master instructors, they are responsible for their students' well-being and students' attention and interest and engagement. So every week, that student could go from C to an A or A to a C. So we are evaluating students every week, every single student in our martial arts school. And the reason being is because we want to be in such a way that we measure things more often and early enough so that we could respond to it early enough and fix up if there's any deficiency on our part or any lack of efficiency on our part all the way around. So how are we serving again the student, right? We want to make sure that they are taken care of and they feel that. And in order for that to happen, each instructor is responsible for their number of students. They have to do a report to me every week in a staff meeting, sharing it with everybody. Who are their A students, B students, C students, who has moved from one to the other one? What are the plans that particular instructor has to make sure the C goes to B and B goes to A, and maintaining the A's in the place that they are all the way around. So we are really systematic about that stuff. And yes, that is part of everything that we're talking about, Brian, in our in your podcast and in your, I'm sure in your other podcasts too, is part of a new martial arts school, is part of a better martial arts school, a better martial arts school that really serves the interest of the student so that they become better human beings as a result. Because when we can make one human being better, then that human being hopefully will make another human being better. So we are literally changing our communities and our world one person at a time moving forward.
Awesome. So thank you so much. Do you have any closing thoughts for listeners and viewers?
Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure to meet you in person and now over here in your podcast. I feel like this is an honor for me to be able to talk to other martial artists. And if there's in any way I can help them, of course, they could always reach out to me at my martial arts email, Grandmaster at azazmartialarts.com, or through your platform. That would be perfect. And, we're all in the same boat. Martial arts school owners that are listening to this, we are all in the same boat. Um, I feel like every time I hang around one martial arts school owner, I'm elevated. I feel like I'm learning more. Regardless, I'm learning and I'm open-minded about everything that happens around us. And in order for us to improve, we really need to keep an open mind and we need to keep our eyes and ears not only on the operations of our martial arts schools and the statistics and the business side of the martial arts school, but on what is our purpose. The purpose is the one that allows us to work harder beyond any other person in any other industry. And I know martial arts school owners work harder than anybody else. We do things all the time. Now, martial art school owners are not different than other business owners that constantly think about their business, but we are changing the world honestly, one person at a time. Every kid that comes to our school, I give you the example of one child that came to my summer camp about 33 years ago, and he's one of my third-degree black belts right now, right, in my martial arts school. And he associates his success in life, not just in martial arts, with everything that he's learned in my martial arts school. And he says if it wasn't for the martial arts program that I taught him, he would have been probably dead somewhere, right? So we are changing the world one person at a time. Just remember what your purpose is and connect that with bettering the world for everyone. And then at that point, everything that we do, all the heartache that we go through, all the tough times that we go through in any part of our martial arts program, in any part of our entrepreneurial life, it's going to be okay at that point because we had a strong purpose and a strong why.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. It was an honor for me to have you as well. I'm so happy to be able to share your view with the viewers and hopefully everybody that watched this took a
Thank
lot.
you, Brian.
All right. Thank you.